Welcome to another episode of Mount Rushmore of... Today, it's Bible characters.
Bible characters.
It's going to be very, very interesting. I think it's very hard to narrow it down to 4. We are not including God or Jesus. Because it's just too...
It's too easy.
It's just, like, of course it's God. Of course it's Jesus. Like, that's the whole point. So we're leaving them out. But today is Bible characters. Who wants to start?
Oh, by the way, Sam is with us.
Yes,
for this one.
You may have seen him guest star with us before.
Yep.
He's back, but is he better than ever?
Yes, he's back. Yes, he's back.
Yes, I am.
Back.
All right, confirmed. He is better than ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
since he's better than ever, should he lead us off?
Sure.
Sounds
Yeah,
reasonable.
I want to hear.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll determine if you're better than ever.
I mean,
All right, so go ahead.
Interesting.
Abraham.
So Abraham, Father Abraham,
Had many sons,
the Abraham,
and many sons
had
Father Abraham, which I've never understood that line. Meaning they had a father whose name was Abraham. It's just kind of a weird thing.
I don't know.
Anyway, Abraham, why?
Because, even though, there's Adam and Noah before him, he, kind of started all of the, he was where everything started.
Yeah, it's Father Abraham. He had many sons that were Jewish, which becomes the entirety of the Bible because, it is, at its heart, Jewish.
Yes, for sure. I have to agree with you. How about you?
Absolutely.
All right.
It's probably not the first one I would have mentioned necessarily, but
then again, there's no rank.
There is no rank. But yes, it feels like one that just has to be there. I don't know how I can take him off.
Right.
Even if there's others that certainly deserve it.
All right, so we agree. The three of us agree on that one. I'm going to go next,
Okay.
and I'm going to go with New Testament.
Okay. I think I know where you're going with this.
Maybe. Maybe you don't.
Yeah. Maybe.
I'm going to say from New Testament, another very important character, and you're going to agree with me, is Paul.
Yes.
The Apostle
It has
Paul.
to be Paul. I mean, he wrote 90% of the New Testament.
Yeah.
So, especially taking the Bible as a whole, as Christians, I mean, if it's not really half, it's less than half time-wise, but there's Old Testament, New Testament, and he is an unbelievably large part.
Right. He was the one that took the gospel to all of those non-Jewish people.
For sure. He's important as a character and a writer. I think that's really what it comes down to. There's two factors here. There's you as a character, which Abraham ranks very high as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Not as an
Not
author,
as a writer.
obviously. But he's so high as a character that doesn't matter. Paul feels like he's both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so
Any other
2
thoughts?
for 2. Anything else? Now, do you agree with Paul?
I had Saul, but they're the same thing, so... Because I forgot that his name was Paul.
Sure.
Really?
It seems like the opposite of what I would think. I forgot he was named Saul before. There's a guy named Saul, killed a bunch of people, or had a bunch of Christians killed, and then he's like, oh wait, I believe in Jesus now. Now I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Paul, rest of Bible.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know why, I've always
That's
thought
pretty
of
much how it
this.
is.
I've always...
Because Saul's a cooler name.
Yeah.
Saul sounds like Paul turned to the dark side. If Paul became a Sith Lord, his name would be Saul.
Darth
Saul. Rise.
Master Saul. Lord Saul.
Of course it has to connect to Star Wars.
Somehow, always.
All right. So we're in agreement so far.
We're 2 for 2.
Yeah. One Old Testament, one New Testament.
One New Testament, right. Your turn.
All right. I'm going to go with David. Because, as far as kings, he is highest on the list. You can maybe argue Solomon. He also wrote some of the more, I don't want to say more significant parts of the Bible, but I want to say the parts that are known to even those who are not Christians, right? Like Psalms is something that, even if you're not a Christian, you're vaguely aware of, the existence of the book of Psalms.
Right.
So you might be the James, is that a book? I don't know. Right? If you're not a Christian, you might not know that. Even if you are a Christian, you might not know that if it's
there a
been
book
a little
of Jason?
while. Yeah. It starts to all fade, and
There's
then
no book of Jason.
nobody knows Habakkuk. I mean, you could be a Christian and be like, oh yeah, it's a book, isn't it?
Yeah.
You still forget that, but Psalms is so important that alone is huge. And then, of course, as far as iconic within culture, if you think of characters that people know, like the story of David and Goliath, huge, right? So even if you're not Christian, everybody knows the story of David and Goliath. I read a book recently which was fascinating. That was all based on why it is Davids are not necessarily the underdog you think they are. Based on David and Goliath. That's the name of the book.
Yeah.
So he's a part of some iconic stories as well. And then, of course, his lineage is so important down the line between being the father of Solomon, and then, of course, there's the connection to Jesus.
Great.
So basically what you're saying is at first you're like, oh, I don't know. And then you're like, oh, man.
Well, it's because it is so hard, because there are so many...
It is very hard.
So many things and so many other characters.
So was he on your list? Let's just...
Yeah.
Even he was.
Well, you're asking him?
Yeah, I'm asking both.
Yeah, he was on my list.
He was on your list. He was not on your list. Okay.
But again, it makes sense.
You don't disagree with it. It just wasn't on your list. Yeah.
You guys will probably disagree with this one.
Okay.
Interesting.
The Centurion.
Yeah. Hilarious.
No, John.
Interesting.
John the Apostle?
Yeah.
Oh. I did not have him as a maybe.
I did not either, actually.
Yeah.
So I was wrong that
so
I said none would come from left field. Right. Yeah, that's actually a little bit from left field.
He wasn't in my 4, but he wasn't also in my maybe.
I wonder if he would even make my 4 New Testament. Probably.
We'll not go there.
Interesting.
For now.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I feel like
convince us.
Yeah.
He just wrote some of the most important books in the New Testament. Like Paul, he wrote the most, but I feel like John wrote more of the most important. And he was one of the only people then who talked to God. And he was there. So he he.
Are you referring to Revelation at this point?
Yeah, and then he also was closest to Jesus. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean he's important. He did write 5 books?
Yeah,
5 books of the New Testament. So
yes.
That's
an interesting one. I feel like as a writer, he gets back to David. He gets huge points as a character.
Yes,
I think, and solid points as a writer.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a little bit of both.
And the same. And then I think it's similar.
This is very similar. My biggest issue is I feel like he's a very important character that doesn't have the notoriety. And notoriety is usually a negative word. He doesn't have the like for David, for example, even somebody who's never opened the Bible, they know the recognition. Yes. Mm-hmm. If you're a Christian, you very much know John.
Well, one of the first verses that you're probably going to learn as a Christian is John 3:16.
Yeah,
it's the only one.
Actually, that's a little more evidence.
Nobody goes to the game with a Psalm 23 banner. You know?
That's true.
It's John 3:16.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
I think there's a psalm verse that people have sometimes too as well. But it's not 20.
Okay.
It's definitely not 20.
Right. I mean, they're not going to go with Psalm 34:8 right there in the camera. Everybody's
yeah. Somebody come in there with numbers. Are you serious? Leviticus numbers? What?
Yeah, I think I agree, but I'm still not completely sold. So
yeah. He's definitely not on my 4. I think that he went from I wasn't even considering him to oh wow.
Yeah.
I think I considered him and wrote him off pretty early.
Once you think about it.
But
I also thought about Peter.
Wait. You can't do that.
No fast forwarding here.
All right, my next one is actually Peter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means it's not in yours. It's not in your 4.
It is not in my 4.
Really?
I considered it.
Uh-huh. Is it in yours?
So we have his 4.
So you're done. Wow. How did that happen?
Interesting kicking out Peter for John.
So I feel like
yes.
That is very interesting.
Yes. So let me tell you why Peter. First.
Yeah.
and then I want to hear what you have to say. So, Peter, writing Cred, he wrote 2 books in the New Testament.
Sure.
So he has some, maybe not as much as
not
John.
as much as John.
But not only was he one of the first ones to be called by Jesus to be apostle, he's the only one that walked on water with Jesus. You're Peter, right?
Yeah.
The rock.
He's more important to the church's growth down the line than John.
Yes. So
that's the big one.
He was the first one to preach to non-Jewish the gospel.
Yeah.
He
was in charge of the whole church in Israel.
Yes,
right?
in Jerusalem. So he was the leader there of the church. He was opening doors for Christianity to start expanding. So I think he should be in the Mount Rushmore.
I feel like the whole book of Revelation just gives John
so the whole book alone.
He's like the one person at that time who knew how the world was going to end. And also he concluded the whole Bible.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that
as well. I think the biggest thing that your argument did for me was I've realized after you talked, I'm like, oh wait, I didn't realize that John clearly has the edge on Peter for the author section.
Right.
So, but Peter does have the edge in character.
In presence.
I think it's only slight in character. The impact on the beginning church is where I think he has the big W. But,
all right,
my final pick.
Okay.
I remember before I had Joseph in there. I don't. It's not going to be Joseph. Mm-hmm. But, just because he is the New Testament Jesus figure, the Old Testament Jesus figure in many senses, and his importance to what happened with Israel down the line. But, I think because I weigh iconicness maybe more than you guys have been, I'm going with Moses. Also, author cred. For author cred, he has the whole, first 5 books of the Bible?
Okay.
He has Genesis, which is incredible.
Well,
as far as to the bow tie thing, he's got the first.
Yeah. So,
if you take our 2... you get the first and the last. He starts us off.
Makes sense.
He also gives us Exodus, which I would argue is extremely important. Not that I'm saying Leviticus and Numbers and stuff aren't. Just that as far as go-tos that you hear about a lot, that even if you're not a Christian, you probably know the story. You probably have at least heard of the 6-day creation. Like, there's just tons of, Adam and Eve, and all of that. Traditionally, we believe was actually written by Moses. There's some question marks there. We don't know that. You got the 10 Commandments, both the movie and then the 10 Commandments, which, again, comes from Moses. Technically from God, but Moses is the giver of that. You have the burning bush story. You have so many different stories. Right. You have, Prince of Egypt. Another movie, Moses. There's that new movie that was made by the guy who did Gladiator. He just has a very huge presence in the Bible, which is why I chose him over some other ones I would consider, which John and Peter are very good options from the New Testament.
I would agree with you then.
Noah could maybe be thrown in there. I think he has points against him. Solomon could maybe be thrown in there, points against him. Both of them writer points against them because they didn't write as Solomon wrote something.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm taking my 4th one that I didn't talk about, and then I'm adding...
Well, what was your 4th one?
Well, I'm not going to talk about it.
Why? No, I'm curious. Discussion. It's a discussion. Isn't that embarrassing?
Was it going to be Jesus?
Somewhat.
And you can think of another one?
No, it wasn't.
Is it Old Testament?
It's Old Testament.
Is it Solomon?
No.
Is it Noah?
No.
Is it Joseph?
No.
Is it Ruth?
No.
I just went off for no. I don't know. Pick a female that I can think of. Adam. No, see, now, Adam.
Yeah.
Okay. See, Adam's one that has a lot in the iconic, nothing in the writing.
Nothing in the writing.
And then also,
he didn't know how to write.
He has 4 chapters. Right?
Yeah, 4 chapters.
3, 4.
3. I think 3. He's mentioned throughout the whole Bible.
That is true.
You know, maybe not in
and
the best
the first.
way.
He would be the
but,
George Washington. I would argue for Abraham to be our George Washington here. But.
So, but I see, like I said, I see putting both there, Moses and Adam.
That's not an embarrassing choice by any means.
Okay.
Let us know which one of us is right. We'll probably have a poll if it's available. If not, comment. Let us know. If you have a different 4, comment your 4. And, while you're at it, drop a like. Because Sam is 14. He needs your like. He needs to be liked. He's 14. His brain is still broken. He's a teenager. So he needs validation from you. So please leave him a like so he knows that you enjoyed his presence in this video. And if you didn't enjoy it, I'm sorry.
Dislike this video.
Don't dislike
it.
Don't be that guy. Just go to another video and...
Or dislike it for other reasons, not because he's here. Come on.
Yeah, sure. But also, subscribe, click that little notification bell so you actually know and get a notification when we come out with a new video. See you next time. Cart full.